Purchasing an RV can be a major investment, and with all the options out there today, you may find yourself wondering, how do I know which RV is right for me?
Well, today we're going to cover some of the most important things that you need to consider before purchasing that RV. Hey y'all, I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Lisa. The kids are all grown up. Now it's our turn to go have fun. So now you'll find us camping.
Yes, you will. Hey, if you just found us, hit that subscribe button and join the Find Us Camping crew. If you've been here for a while, don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're liking our videos. If you're already a crew member, thanks for coming back.
Today we're going to go over 5 things that we think are really important when trying to narrow down which RV is the right RV for you. Obviously, some things are going to be different from person to person, but as long as you take into consideration these 5 things, we think you'll be on the road to choosing what's right.
Okay, for number 1 is your budget. You need to know a budget. Before you get started, can you afford $1,000? Can you afford $100,000?
So your budget, when you're thinking about your budget, you need to think about a couple of things. How long do you plan to keep it? So are you just going to go buy maybe a used pop-up for a couple $1,000s and you're not going to have any payments and you're just going to be trying it out? Or is this an investment? You already have a camper or have had one and you know that you're looking for something that you're going to keep for several years. Something else to think about when you're figuring your budget is don't forget things like insurance. If it's an RV that you're going to drive, don't forget the cost of gas. Also, if you live in a state like we do, where you have to pay personal property tax.
Our personal property is almost as much as our payment.
Yeah, it's through the roof because in most places it's taxed at a higher rate because it's considered a luxury. As we go through these 5 things, you're going to find that some of them kind of lead in to the other one and back and forth. In addition to things like insurance and personal property tax, you should also think about things like maybe you're buying a used one and there's some upgrades you're going to want to do. Those are going to cost money, so you're going to need to be sure you have enough money set aside for those.
Upgrades, you may need hoses, sewer hoses. What all do we have in our camper?
Sewer hoses,
chairs,
leveling blocks.
All kinds of stuff that they may not leave with their camper because maybe they're taking their camper, selling their camper and taking it with them. So
those aren't necessarily huge expenses, but you just need to be aware.
It adds up quick.
Yeah, they are there. And you also need to keep a little money set aside for repairs. You never know. Even if you buy something new, you never know what repairs may need to be done. And yeah, if you buy something brand new, it is under warranty. But some repairs, it just makes more sense to go ahead and fix it yourself than to try to schedule an appointment with the dealership, be without your RV for a couple of days or even a week, depending on what it is. So just keep some money tucked away for, minor repairs that you might be willing to just handle yourself.
One more big thing we forgot, don't forget, you have to camp. So some things are $29 a night, some are up to $100 a night. So depending on where you're camping, that's extra money you probably didn't think about when you're talking about your budget for your camper.
Right. So there's a lot of dollar figures to think about when you're trying to come up with that what is my budget. So the next thing we want to throw out there is
number 2.
What type of camper are you? What are you going to use this for? Are you going to be a weekend warrior? Are you going to be somebody that wants a park model because you're just going to park it on a lot at the lake or at the river or in the mountains? Are you going to live in it and be full time? Obviously, all of these different options will come with different needs. The person that's just going out for the weekend might not want to spend as much as the person that's going to live in it. And they might not need all the amenities that the person that's going to live in it needs. So you need to be conscious when you go looking at what type of camper are you and are you going to be once you buy this RV.
Well, the number 3 thing is, do you want a towable RV or do you want to drive your RV?
This really drastically, once again, kind of ties back to the budget. It's going to be a big effect. So you could have something as small as a pop-up or a teardrop, or you could even have one of those, I'm not sure the technical term for it, but in the back of your truck campers, or you could have a travel trailer that's substantially larger, or even a 5th wheel, a toy hauler, a Class A.
It depends on what you're driving now too. If you don't want to buy another truck or another car, a smaller unit may be better. Most of the little minivans and most of the little trucks can pull a pop-up or maybe a very small light trailer.
Like a teardrop
or something
like that.
But if you're looking to go up to the big fifth wheels and the toy haulers like we have, of course you're going to need a bigger truck. So now that you're not only buying a camper, but you're also buying a truck. So that $100,000 camper turned into a $50,000, $60,000 more investment for the truck. So you're up to $160,000, $170,000. So is it better to go with the Class A when you get to that high?
Yeah, maybe you have a small car that you could tow behind a Class A. And so at that point, maybe that would be the better investment. Keep in mind, if you do that, though, and you're going to want to tow your car, in addition to the cost of the Class A, you're going to need to buy whatever accessories need to hook into that Class A to be able to tow your car.
We don't know much about those. We've never had a Class A and never pulled a car behind us.
We're not Class A people.
We're not class. We're not high class people. We're not
classy people. But at this point, that's not where we are. Maybe one day.
Don't ever go out and buy the biggest thing first. It may not be what you want later down the road, and it might end up costing you a lot of money because campers lose a lot of value fast. So it takes you a couple years to get your money back out of it. So if you haven't done this before, you might want to start small and work your way up. That's what we did. We started in a tent, to a pop-up, to a travel trailer, to a fifth wheel, to the toy hauler. So we've done every one of the steps. So don't go out and buy something real expensive and have to come back.
And there's nothing wrong with buying something used. One of our favorite campers we had was a Sprinter travel trailer. It was used. It looked brand new inside, and we never had a minute's trouble out of it. When you get something new, of course, there's things that you're going to have to deal with because nothing's perfect.
Ours is in the shop now.
Yeah, and it's under warranty, so you can take it in and get it fixed. Not such a big deal. But if you can buy something that's gently used, that's not really old, but it is used, a lot of times you can save a lot of money. And the people that bought it new have already worked through all the kinks and the little problems they had to take it back to the dealership for. So, if you're new to this and you're not sure exactly what you want, it probably wouldn't hurt to check out some used options. It might save you some money, and through having that used unit, you might learn that, hey, this is exactly what we need, and maybe you can start looking for a newer one, or maybe we need something bigger or smaller, and you can kind of go from there.
Number 4 kind of goes back into where we just left off. What size RV would you like to have?
So maybe you've narrowed it down and the truck you have is capable of pulling, let's just say for easy math, a 35-foot travel trailer. The weight of those seems to be within your range. The price seems to be within your range. Then what exactly do you need? Do you have kids so you need a bunkhouse? Then that's what you need to look for. Or like us, we have kids, but they're grown, and sometimes they come with us, but not all the time. So do we really want to buy something with a bunkhouse and give up possible kitchen or living space for the kids that come with us on a weekend now and then? Or do we find something that has the king-size bed that we want and a fold-out couch and room for an air mattress for when we have people with us?
Or the toy hauler so the beds can go up and out of the way when they're not there.
Yeah, so we have a toy hauler because at this stage of the game, that's what works best for us. We wanted a king-size bed. We wanted a full-size shower. We don't need a bathtub. But if you had little ones that were going to go outside and get dirty during the day and, that you'd need to bring them in and give them a bath in the evening, then certainly probably a tub would be better for you. So these are just kind of the little things that you need to think about. And a lot of those options come with different size units. If you get a small, like 23 foot travel trailer, it's not going to probably have a bunkhouse because there's just not enough room for that. If you are a couple and you don't need the bunks, and maybe you want a fifth wheel and your truck could tow that.
Or maybe you want the bunk so you can sleep away from each other.
Whatever. There's plenty of options out there. Again, everything from a pop-up, which is very small, to a travel trailer, which I think they run probably maybe 15 on up to 35 feet. And I don't know these numbers exact, but you get the idea. There are some smaller fifth wheels right on up to the 45-foot fifth wheels. And then you start getting into the driving units. So you get the Class B, which is the one that is basically a van that's been kind of made into a camper as a conversion. And then up to a C, which is the ones that you see that looks like the nose of a van. They usually have the bunk over the the driver's seats. They're a little bit bigger than the B. And then there's also a Super C, which I think is a diesel. It's made on a heavy-duty diesel frame.
Truck chassis.
Yeah, a bigger chassis, so it's more of a heavy-duty. I guess it probably weighs more. And then up to a Class A, which is, you know, full-on diesel pusher. And I say that, but they also make them in gas. So again, that's going to go back to your budget.
Diesel pusher.
Yeah, it's going to go back to your budget. So, you know, does the Class A get better gas mileage if it's diesel or gas? Or do you plan on driving it a lot? You know, if you're just going to drive it and stay somewhere a couple of months, then gas isn't such a big deal. But if you're going to be full-time living and moving every couple of weeks, then the fuel mileage and the cost of that fuel is going to make a difference. So again, we're here with what size should we get, but that also kind of factors back into your budget. So they all kind of tie into one another as you go through all these things.
Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos that we're doing, hit that, smash that button, that like button down there in the bottom. Let us know that you do like what we're doing. We're trying to do this for you guys. We've already bought our camper, and we know basically what we want to get for now on. So we're just trying to help you guys out. And if there's something that you guys want to know more about, you know, we've been doing this for, 15 years. We don't know everything, but...
And we've learned a lot over the years.
We've learned a whole lot.
Sometimes the hard way, sometimes the easy way. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to share with you the best piece of advice that we ever got when searching for the right camper.
So if you guys have any questions, comment below. Let us know what kind of questions you have. When we're out there in the campgrounds, all kinds of people ask us questions, and we answer all their questions out there. So comment, let us know. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know what kind of camper you have. You have an A, B, C, you have a toy hauler, you have a fifth wheel. What do you have? What are you guys carrying out there, and what are you camping in? Let us know.
And if you think of something that we are not thinking of, if there's a recommendation you have that people need to, hey, when you're looking, you should also think about that. Please also comment down below with that so that it can help somebody else out. And for our fifth and final suggestion when looking for the right RV for you, my question is, what are your deal breakers? And what I mean by that, and they're different for everyone, and it's always fun to hear what they are for different people.
You'll never think of one of our deal breakers.
So, like for us, for example, a deal breaker is we have to have a king size bed. Okay, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. We thought we could go with a queen, and we've done that, and it just was uncomfortable. The second half of that is something that we have learned with the RV we have now. Going forward, an east-west bed is a deal breaker. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what that means...
Not for me, it doesn't bother me.
For what that means is, so if you're in your RV and your bed is in the position that it runs from the front of the RV to the back, that's considered north-south. If your bed is in the RV sideways, which usually means that it's in a slide and it extends out of the camper, so like your headboard goes out the side of the camper, that's considered east-west.
And what is the big deal about east-west?
The big deal is east-west means when I'm making the bed, I have room to get around both sides. And the one we have now, we gave in on that, and we have a north-south bed, and it's okay, but it's not great. And so going forward, that will be a deal breaker for us. Another deal breaker is we wanted a full-size shower. This one has some wide shoulders, so in the smaller showers, he has a hard time fitting. I have a lot of hair, so if it's too high up, I feel like this when I'm trying to, get a shower.
When I'm washing my hair, I hit my elbows on the wall and
like he has a lot of hair to wash.
I do have a lot of hair.
But anyway, another deal breaker for us is
a fireplace.
Yeah, and I've had so many salespeople kind of scratch their head and look at me and say, "Really, a fireplace?"
But we camp all year round, so what's cheaper? Running the gas off of the off the park's electricity that we're already paying for, or burning all my gas bottles up trying to keep it warm in there for somebody that's got to get camping in Florida all the time. So,
well, but when you're not camping in Florida and it's cold, you need heat, and better to get that heat off the campground's dollar than off my dollar burning up my gas bottles. I did have a lady at a camper show one time say, I don't know why they put those fireplaces in there. I mean, they look nice, but who needs that?
They thought it was a wooden fireplace.
This lady thought that it was just like decorative, that it didn't even put out any heat. And then once I explained to her that no, it's basically like a space heater, but it looks pretty, like a fireplace. And your electric's included in what you're paying to stay there, so you're using their money to heat your RV.
Excuse the airplane, we're near an airport.
Then she realized that it was a pretty good idea. And when you camp year round, it's a great idea because it saves you money.
We'll turn our gas on for a few minutes, get the temperature up where it needs to be, turn the furnace off, hit that fireplace, and it pretty much keeps it warm all the way through there for the whole time.
So we've come across some deal breakers that aren't so much our deal breakers, but I've run into people at the camping shows, and I always like to ask just because it's interesting to hear what different people want. We actually camped next to a couple one time that had very large dogs. So a deal breaker for them was they did not want any of the heating ducts in the floor because their dogs would catch their toenails in them and break them off. Another thing that we have friends that they want recliners versus maybe the theater seating. Some people would rather have a sofa than the theater seating. And a lot of times those things are interchangeable. It's just a matter of you have to ask. A deal breaker for some people is they want the dinette, like the booth seating, because they need that extra bed and they want to be able to fold it down. But if you don't want that extra bed, maybe you'd rather have a table and chairs. It really depends on what you need for your specific situation. So let us know what some of your deal breakers are, or have you ever even thought about that? Because we really didn't used to think about that at all. It's one of those things we've kind of learned the hard way over the years. The best piece of advice,
the part that you've been waiting for right here,
that we have ever been given, and it was from a salesperson,
believe it or not,
at one of those big box camper stores. I won't drop any names, but we all know what type of dealership I'm talking about. When we walked up to his display at a camper show, he came running up, "Can I help you? Can I help you?" And I said, we're really just looking. We are planning in the future to buy a fifth wheel, but we're happy with what we've got now. So we really truly are just looking. And you're more than welcome to walk around with us. But you should know that I'm not going to purchase anything today.
He didn't leave.
He didn't leave. And what he said was this: I will leave you to walk around and look because it seems like you know what you want. But can I just give you one piece of advice? And it has held up to be the best piece of advice as far as buying a camper that anyone has ever mentioned to us.
We still use it to this day.
And it was this: think about what you think you want. Think about what you can afford, how big of an RV you need, if it's going to be towable, what amenities you want. Go to every camper store, camper show, camper anything.
Get a good pair of tennis shoes.
Yeah, whether it's Hershey, Tampa, your local show when it comes to town, or like we do when you're on vacation, you go to the dealership there because they carry a brand that maybe they didn't have the floor plan you wanted to see at home, and they have it here. Go look at it. He said, look. And then when you're finally ready to buy, sit down, make a list of what you can afford to buy, what type of unit you want to buy, whether it's a pop-up all the way up to a Class A, and then go through the amenities you want, which in my mind breaks down to make your deal breaker list. He said there's never going to be an RV out there that has every single thing that you want. So make a list of what you want from greatest to least importance. So for us, it's the king size bed, it's the full size shower, it's a fireplace. And then from there it goes down. Yeah, an outside kitchen is nice, but my favorite part about that is really that it has a refrigerator so the kids can grab a drink without having to come inside, outside, and letting all your air or your heat in.
So it's not a deal breaker, but it's something we would like to have.
It's not a deal breaker, but it's something I would like. So it comes further down on the list. Once you have that list made up, pick which dealership you want to do business with.
Good luck.
It can be the Camping World, or it can be the local mom and pop shop right up the road. Whichever's a better fit for you. And that's a personal decision you have to make. And then go into that dealership and sit down with a salesperson and say, this is what we want. We want a travel trailer. It can't be any longer than 35 feet. It must have a king-size bed. It must have a full-size shower. It must have a fireplace. And then it must have bunks, or maybe not. And we would like an outside kitchen if possible, but that's not a deal breaker. But give them that list. Then they can go through the brands that they sell, and they can find something that has the most of your deal breaker list as possible. Maybe your deal breaker list is really short and they might have 3 or 4 options. maybe your deal breaker list is really long, and once the dealership goes through that with you, they say, you know, hey, we only have this one particular unit that's going to fit what you want. But we have these other couple that if you're willing to give up this or give up that, they would be a good fit too. And then they can show you what those units are, and you can take a look. Maybe you are willing to give up the fireplace because you just hate the interior of this one. Or maybe you need to go to another dealership and see maybe another brand offers something that you're looking for. Or you could be lucky and you could say, hey, here's our deal breaker list. And it'd be so short that they could say, we have 6 different brands, 6 different units that would fit what you're looking for. And then it can just be it can be a decision of, I really like the color of the cabinets or the color of the upholstery, or we like the way the outside of this one, looks, or the layout of this one's better. We have friends that bought one and they love it, and they've decided that they need a little more space, but they're going back and they're looking at one that's the same brand as the one they have. It's just a little bigger, and the layout's very similar. They did decide that they wanted an east-west bed. So in this one, they're going to have an east-west bed, and their living area is bigger, which are the 2 things that really drive them nuts. So your deal breaker list could be very short, but you need to have that list and know what it is before you go in and go shopping, so that you don't get sidetracked and drawn in to something that when you get it home, you're going to wish that you had paid more attention to this detail or that detail, and then you're just unhappy with it, and then you find yourself not using it because it just doesn't have what works for you.
So what is that? It's on your must-have list. You got to have something.
Yeah, put your must-have list, put your deal breaker list below. I'm always curious. I always ask people when we're at the shows if they come in and they start up a conversation.
Yours is definitely different than ours.
Yeah, I always ask, what is it?
We'll read yours and go, wow, why do they need that?
It's so funny to hear how everybody has that list and they're so set on it, and it's so different from person to person, couple to couple, family to family. And maybe I'm just a camping nerd, but I find it interesting just to hear what other people's deal breaker lists are and why. Because sometimes, like the fireplace, if you didn't know that the fireplace really put off heat, then who would want one? Like that one lady I talked to. For us, it's a deal breaker because I want the heat and I don't want to have to use up my gas bottles. But she didn't know that, so that would have never made her list. So it's often interesting to find out what is someone's deal breaker list and why, because it may be something you just didn't even know.
Well, I'm going to give you a pro tip, whether or not we're pros or not, but this is number 6.
Uh-oh, it's a bonus.
Bonus. Your dealership. We found out the hard way that some dealerships aren't all the same, first of all. Second of all is it's not like buying a Chevrolet or a Ford or anything like that. When you buy that camper from that dealership, that is where you got to take it back to get it fixed 90% of the time. You can take it to another dealership that services those, but they're going to service who they sold to first. So
Right.
If your air conditioner is out in the middle of July and you're in 200 miles away from your dealership, they will fit you in. But it's going to be after the people that they sold to. So
and that's
it
not
is
true.
tough.
It's not true for every dealership.
Most of them.
We kind of thought it was. We do have some friends, however, that were wintering in Florida this year, and they had some issues with theirs, and Lazy Days took really good care of them. I personally have never dealt with them, but they did really good at getting them in, getting their issues resolved, and I believe most times she said that they got them done faster than they had expected. Like they were planning to have to spend the night at the dealership one night because Lazy Days apparently has a place you can park
Inside.
there. Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. But anyway, she said they were planning to spend the night, and the girl came out and said, "You're all done. They got it fixed today, so you can leave." Which was really great. And I know that they're one of the big dealerships, and we bought ours. I won't drop names again, but we bought ours from one of the bigger dealerships, and
Our camper is somewhere else now getting worked on.
Thought that was great. And our local dealership is just not so great. And I can't speak for the mom and pop dealerships, but a lot of them are really good. Their service is great. The only problem is if you're here and like we're in Virginia and I'm in Florida and I have a problem, then I'm kind of stuck. So we went with a bigger dealership this time, thinking that might help with that problem. Knock on wood, we haven't had to use it yet. But just keep in mind, before you pick a dealership, ask around, get online and read reviews, and keep in mind when you're reading online reviews that some of them are just crazy stupid.
Do you like your dealership that you bought from so far?
Yeah, because I can say I did for some of the units we've purchased. I'm not so happy with the dealership we used with our most recent purchase. So I'd be interested to hear how many of you have had great experiences at dealerships, and were they the little local dealerships or were they the bigger ones? Comment below and let us know what your dealings have been.
So that was our top 5 and maybe a half recommendations for you to when you're ready to buy your new RV. So hopefully this helped you guys. If it did, like I said, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you did like it. It does mean a lot for us to know what you guys are liking, what you're not liking, so we know what to put out.
Yeah, we don't know everything. Certainly, we're not full time. We do camp a lot, but we love to share any knowledge we have if it helps you, or maybe a neighbor or something. So if there's anything else that you'd like to know about,
let us know.
Comment below and let us know. We may not know. We may not have any great answers, and if that's the case, we can say that. I'm not above saying I don't know. I'd rather tell you I don't know than to tell you something that's just a bunch of crap and probably isn't true. But if it is something that we have some knowledge about, we're happy to share that, because after all of us in this RV community need to stick together and help one another out.
Especially now.
Yeah, so everybody out there, take care and safe travels. Hope to see you again soon.